Okay, so let's take a look at the next stock. This is going to be GEO. In all fairness, they were talking about this one on the Warden chat on Telechart. And GEO is a short for me. I went short on this one. And this is a daily chart. You can see, let's take a look at a weekly chart. You know, look at the volume coming out of this thing. This uptrend, I think, is just had it. It's about done. I mean, even if we draw it like that, even if we come in over here, I think the stock is done as far as that's going. So we have the gaps. Gaps act as support and resistance. This one's going to be resistance. And we also have, you know, all this overhead supply in this area. You know, maybe this moves up into the gap a little bit more, but, you know, I would short it anywhere in here between 26.50, 26.25, and all the way up to 28. You know, it just depends on what kind of risk you're comfortable with. But for me, I really like this short, and let me show you a little something here on, oh, wrong one. I'll show you this quicker one. This is 3C on a 15-minute chart, and I just wanted to point out, you know, what was happening here with this. You know, as price was going up, this indicator was making much lower highs. So that's a indication to me that this stock is under distribution. One other thing I want to show you too, don't assume that 3C, because it's based on TSV, is the same indicator. I mean, look how TSV behaved today, and compare it to how 3C behaved today. So they do have very different findings, but they're both very good quality indicators, and you know, I prefer 3C. I think it's easier to read. I think it has, you know, when they disagree, I think 3C is usually right. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure the Wardens probably feel differently about it. So GEO, I think it's a short. Let me show you a 1-minute chart here. And basically what I'm seeing here towards the close, I mean, we had a pretty good price advance there here at 3 o'clock on, and really the indicator just did not give at all any signs of any kind of accumulation there. I think, again, short covering, a little oversold balance. That market maker is actually specialist, is probably trying to unwind some shares that they have up here. So they do anything they can to help price along a little bit so they can unwind and get their short position working there. So that's GEO. JPM I thought was kind of interesting today. I mentioned it on the tag board. You know, if you're a nimble trader, and you can be there watching it all day. I just thought this little action over here was kind of interesting. This when the rest of the market was pretty strong, it took a pretty good dip here on some volume, and rallied back up into it, but didn't really didn't close strong at all, and saw a lot more volume at the close. So I thought maybe that's going to be an interesting short to take a look at. Let me just show it to you on a hourly chart too, because you can see there's quite a bit of overhead supply that's in this area that it's coming into. So, you know, presumably there's a lot of fuel up here. These are all sellers, so lots of supply, and if there's not enough demand, of course, price goes down. So JPM, I thought that was an interesting one to throw out there for you. And last, I'm just going to show you SKF real quick. And SKF is one of these double inverse short ETFs. It's the ProShares Ultra Short. Double inverse meaning, and this particular one is financials. You can see up here, financials ETF. Meaning if financials go down, this ETF goes up. If financials go up, this ETF goes down. So that's how it works. But it goes up and down by a 2-to-1 ratio. So whatever financials do, this is going to do it 2 times more. So anyway, SKF, I've been you know, buying this. So I'm short financials. You know, financials are the epicenter of the problem here, and I think that that this is probably a very good way to play it. As you can see, it's taken a real beating, as financials have rallied today. But I've traded in and out of this stock a couple times. I've been buying it at $92, $93, $95, and flipping it at 97, selling some in after hours. So I think it's kind of a neat way to invest, and really 3C works awesome on this. I mean, 1 minute time frame, that's all I've been using. And I mean, look at how it's performed. Look at the positive divergence as prices coming down yesterday. Look at that positive divergence, and then boom. And that's what I bought yesterday when I told you at 3:30 I started seeing all these divergences. I was in on this thing, and I made some decent change on it, and I've still got some positions there. So it didn't go down much today. That's the really cool thing. If you look at these lows over here, price is much lower now, and the indicator stayed pretty positive. The closing lows up here, it's actually got a little positive divergence there. So SKF, I think, is an interesting play on financials, and if you want to give 3C a try, like I said, you're going to need telechart or blocks. I'm having the indicator written for blocks, and if you haven't seen blocks, that's by Warden as well. Same makers of telechart. Blocks is unbelievable, and I'm going to have the indicator written for blocks, so you can use it there. So if you want to give 3C a try, I'll be more than happy to give it to you. I haven't given it out in over a year, and I just changed my policy on that. But I want to let you know that I'm a Warden affiliate. So if you want to try telechart, I would appreciate it if you use the links from my site. I get credit for it. They pay me out of their pocket. It doesn't cost you one dime, 1 penny more. Just let them know when you sign up that you heard about them from Trade Guild, or use a link from my site, and I'll be more than happy to give you the indicator either way. If you already have telechart, that's fine. I'll give it to you anyway. Real quickly, all this volatility that we're seeing in the market right now boils down to a couple things. One, this is a 5-day chart. One, we're looking at a top. I don't think this plays out into a full head and shoulders. I think this just breaks down over in here. I think the subprime thing is just really out of hand, and no matter what anybody says. I have some quotes actually on my website in a couple of the videos I did yesterday, the first video, and one of these analysts, who's a pretty big player, said this is the worst that he's seen by far in a very long time. So bad, compares it with another event that almost brought down the entire financial system. Anyway, we're talking about fear and greed real quick. I know my video is running over here, but fear and greed are the two things that propel this market, that make this market work. When we get into the tops, we get extra volatility, we get extra emotions. So all of this that you saw the last, especially the last week, that was all fear. And what you're seeing today and what you might see tomorrow is greed, or short covering. Actually, it's short covering, but whoever's buying that, it's greed. It's pure greed. And when people see this up, 3%, they're gonna say, "Oh, buy! Tell my broker to buy." And those are the guys who are gonna get left holding the bag. They're gonna be fuel for the fire when this thing starts to break down, and those are the guys who are gonna be in pain. But fear and greed is what's propelling this market at this point. The technicals, even, I love technicals, but I think even in some cases here, the technicals are they're useless in some cases, because really it's the emotion of fear and greed. The market is like a pendulum, like an old grandfather clock that ticks back and forth. And if this is normalcy, it always ticks too far one way and then too far the other way. And that's what's happening here. And so it's going to be choppy. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but I think the fate of this market is down, which makes me a happy boy. Okay, Brant from TradeGuild.blogspot.com. Thanks for listening.